arrived to this magnificent Tuesday, to this magical Tuesday. What am I doing? You gotta hold your pinky up in the air, man. What the fuck was that? That's how it's done. Welcome everybody. Let's see. It is a nice ass day up here in northern New Jersey. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and check what the temp is because let's see. We got 74 it's 74 degrees. Oh yeah, nice, baby. Yeah, so look. Oh, we got Distracted Garden in the building. Hello. It is a beautiful, lovely, wonderful 74 degrees here in northern New Jersey. And when we're done streaming, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. First, I always like to kind of decompress a little bit because I'm actually rather introverted. So when you come on and you talk and you put on a show for an hour or two, I just like to decompress for a sec. Queen Fritza, what's going on? So after the show today, because again, it's a beautiful 75 sunny degrees here in northern New Jersey, type of weather to make you feel good, make you realize you're just a little crazy and things in fact are okay. We're all a little crazy sometimes, some of us more than others, but that's the power of sun and warmth. But yeah, after this, I'm gonna lay down for like 10 minutes and I'm gonna go outside. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to take things a bit slower, but everything is going well. Matter of fact, before I even got on here, I got like a breaking news update that another one of Trump's appeals got denied. But like, you can't even really keep up with that shit because it happens so often. So I'm not even. I'm not. We're not even gonna look at that. So let's see where should we start with? Where should we start? Yesterday there wasn't much to go over. I had some other stuff going on. Oh, you got curry goat? That sounds wonderful. That sounds absolute. Fritz always got some wonderful shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Oh, Jeremy, you out in NYC? Yeah, I'm here. I'm only a couple of miles away. I'm here in Hackensack, New Jersey. Yeah, it's pretty warm out. Like I was saying, after this stream, I'm gonna spend a little time outside, just relaxing. Yesterday, I went for a run. Um, that's when I went for a little run yesterday. I'm not gonna do that today, but today I'm just gonna relax. So, you know, to no one's surprise, the True Social stock continues to crash. This was from yesterday, so let's go ahead and look at this real quick, just because. I mean, if Trump wasn't in the position that he was in, I don't even know if they would have taken the company public. I mean, perhaps they would have, but it's pretty new. A lot of the time, companies wait a little bit longer before they go public, but not always. But clearly, he just has financial issues. Trump's Truth Social stock crashes as soon as market opens. Quote, the victims here are willingly opening their bank accounts, and when it crashes to earth, they'll thank Trump for the privilege of being shaken down. Hey, that's that's about right. That's really about right. I mean, at this point, what can you really say? What type of arguments can you really have with people who are diehard MAGA supporters who don't have any room in their minds and their souls to potentially change their minds and their paths? You know, so just another grift. Former President Donald Trump's meme stock is in deep trouble. Shares, and then again, this article is from yesterday. Shares of Trump Media and Technology Group (TMTG) are getting absolutely hammered this morning, sliding a further 9% as soon as the markets open. Shares of the group have been tanking ever since it merged with the blank check acquisition company last month, nearly halving in price since their peak after debuting. Meanwhile, an incensed Trump tried to rally the troops, reiterating last week that he'll double down and continue to use True Social. A far right. I mean, that's basically the only thing that people check True Social for. Because again, it's like, what other real reason? What reason do people really have to be on True Social? You can be on Twitter. I mean, not a lot of people are so offensive that they get kicked off Twitter. So like there's still plenty of room for the white nationalists and the white supremacists and all of that shit on X now. Half the content on True Social is just Donald Trump running his mouth. The crash, long predicted by analysts, clearly indicates that investors are unloading the astronomically overvalued stock. While the merger gave TMTG a massive multi-billion dollar valuation, True Social made a pitiful $4.1 million in revenue last year. We've already gone over this. Merger is more likely yet another Trumpian scheme. Of course, it's another Trumpian scheme. But yes, no, this is just like a little update from yesterday, a quick little snippet before we go into the next reel. Yes, it crashed by 9 percentage points as soon as the markets opened yesterday. So now we're gonna go ahead and click on over to here. Because like for a it could be, this is what Donald Trump cares about. For a hot second, I think it was like on paper he was wealthier than George Soros. That made him happy for the 5 minutes that he was there. Donald Trump crashes out of the Bloomberg rich list due to his meme stock nosediving. And again, this is the type of stuff that you absolutely know Donald Trump cares deeply about. He does. He's still talking about how much his Mar-a-Lago property is worth. Donald Trump has crashed. Hold on, let's see. Donald Trump has crashed out of the ranks of the world's 500 wealthiest people after the value of his meme stock nosedived. The former president has fallen off the Bloomberg Billionaires Index as his net worth has dropped below the $5.8 billion required to make the cut. Oh, Forbes, Trump just wakes up and is like, today I'm worth $10 billion. Today I'm worth $8 billion. Forbes' rich list pegs Trump's total wealth at $4.8 billion, ranking him 659th in the world. Damn, they couldn't even get him to an even number. Trump held a top 300 spot on Bloomberg's index only a few days ago, ahead of the likes of George Soros, Mark Cuban, Giorgio Armani, Reed Hastings, and Bernie Marcus. The wealth of the presumptive Republican presidential nominee surged this year due to his 78.75 million shares, or at least 58% stake in Trump Media and Technology Group. TMTG shares hit an intraday high of $79 on March 26. And now it's at 37%. I mean, $37 after yesterday's close. So it went from $79 to $37 in like a week and a half. I mean, no more than that, a week and a half, 2 weeks max. It went down by 53%. The initial buying frenzy also boosted the company's market capitalization to about $11 billion at its peak. That just goes to show too how much the stock market is. It's so much of it's just speculation. I mean, Tesla is one of the greatest examples of that. Tesla stock has historically been worth as much as it is because of the hope that electric battery is going to be made really cheap at some point. But the reality is that Teslas don't outsell all these other car brands like Toyota and Honda and shit like that. It's just speculation. So they went from $11 billion to $5.1 billion. That's still more than the 1,200 times the $4.1 million revenue. So yeah, again, that's still speculation. It's just funny to look at. Nothing but speculation. All right, Norfolk Southern have reached an agreement. So let's check that out. I remember a couple months ago. Aaron, what's going on? How you doing today? Norfolk Southern reaches $600 million settlement to settle East Palestine derailment suit. Yes, and that too, Tesla is largely carried by subsidies as well. And again, that doesn't mean that there's no value whatsoever in a Tesla car. It's just all that hype around Elon Musk. Norfolk Southern has reached a $600 million settlement that, if approved by a court, will resolve all lawsuits covering thousands of residents within 20 miles of the 2023 East Palestine, Ohio derailment that spilled more than 1 million pounds of hazardous chemicals into the soil, water, and air. The rail company said the settlement is intended to offset costs related to the spill that sent a plume of toxic smoke into the air and displaced many residents and businesses. But Norfolk Southern didn't admit to any liability of wrongdoing as a result of the settlement. We're gonna pay you out, but it's not our fault though. Quote, individuals and businesses will be able to use compensation from the settlement in any manner they see fit to address potential adverse impacts from the derailment. The company said in a statement this would include healthcare needs and medical monitoring, property restoration and diminution, diminution, and compensation for any net business loss. The settlement of the class action lawsuit, which subsumed 31 separate cases, also allows residents within 10 miles of the derailment to receive additional compensation. In a court filing Tuesday, the plaintiffs said they expected to file a motion for the judge to approve the settlement within 10 days. Attorneys representing the claimant said they hope to make the claims process easy and efficient and to begin sending out payments by the end of 2024. I don't know what the math breakdown on that would be, and I'm sure not everybody would get the same amount, but I mean, 600 million is almost that's a lot of money, but it depends on how many people are going to be getting it though. Well, we believe this is a fair, reasonable, and adequate result for the community on a number of levels, not the least of which is the speed of the resolution. The overall amount of the awards residents can expect, which will be significant for those most impacted by the derailment. Following the February 3rd, 2023 Norfolk Southern freight train derailment, residents were ordered to evacuate temporarily. State and federal environmental officials say testing shows the air and water in the town is now safe. But some residents still complain of health problems, including burning sensations in their eyes, tingling in their lips, heaviness in their chest, and swelling of lymph nodes in their necks and groins. Even when you're drinking water that's not like contaminated to that degree, you absolutely can feel it in your body. Like here in New Jersey, the water here is just really not that. The tap water is really not good. NYC tap water is pretty good, but the tap water in Jersey is just not great. I always use like gallon waters and stuff. I buy my water pretty much or use filter. But if you were to just drink the water in Jersey, like I don't know if it would make you sick, but it's just it's like filmy and like depending on the water you drink, different places can make you break out and shit like that. So yeah, that's absolutely a huge problem. But and it's not in then we got the issue in Flint, Michigan going on, but that's not an isolated incident. That's going on in cities all over the nation. So oh shit. And from what I saw up here too, is they paid out. Well, they got the $600 million settlement, but they're not claiming responsibility for what happened. But if it's just money and not like ongoing care, like ongoing benefits or access, then yeah, that's not really going to go anywhere. Okay, let's see. Since then, the company says it has spent $104 million in community assistance to East Palestine and the surrounding areas, $4.3 million to upgrade the area's drinking water infrastructure, and $500,000 for economic development, among other contributions. East Palestine has a population of 5,000. I mean, at the end of the day, this this definitely is a Norfolk Southern issue, but so much of these problems are really the government's duty to address infrastructure, whether that be public transportation, public commons, whatever that is. Um, there's just so much. There's so much issues that we have, and unfortunately, now it costs even more money. Republicans are always talking about being fiscal and budgeting stuff out, but if we would have addressed a lot of our failing infrastructure problems decades ago, and we wouldn't be facing a lot of the problems that we are now. Well, good. Okay. They're pushing back more. Several class action lawsuits say the company hasn't done enough to remediate the toxic chemicals released into the area. They also blame Norfolk Southern for the negligence. The EPA's latest update on the aftermath of the derailment notes that among several changes to the region's environment, Quote, deceased fish were observed by response staff in a sulfur run. Oh, damn. In a sulfur run during routine stream monitoring. The investigation determined that the fish were killed when swimming through the pumps that are diverting water out of the sulfur run. Well, it's definitely good that they got more class action lawsuits going on because I agree. I mean, $600 million can sound like a lot, but that can be spent rather quickly because again, not everybody's going to get the same amount of money. Because it's not just individuals who are getting the money; it's businesses and other entities as well. But as Mike Boy pointed out, and as Libby has pointed out, like when you're dealing with these type of healthcare issues, it's a day to day thing. But I think it says it all to where they're like, we're not going to claim responsibility for it. But this looks pretty avoidable to me. I mean, it's just a single picture, but it looks pretty avoidable. We got Sigourney in the building. What's going on? How you doing? It is a nice, relaxing Tuesday. It's quite warm here in northern New Jersey. It's about 75 degrees, and I'm in a relaxed mood. I'm in a relaxed mood. I'm chilling, and after this stream is over, I'm gonna spend a little time outside. Just hang out. You know what I'm saying? Nothing, nothing crazy. Just go chill outside for a little. Let's see. Where should we go? I'm gonna look at that in a sec. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm looking at this over here because Republicans, or at least some Republicans, are trying to get rid of Mike Johnson. Uh, I agree. I think that natural resources, for the most part, should be nationalized. There's no reason why people should be able to just privately profit off of things that just come from territory. You know what I mean? I definitely agree with that. Marjorie Taylor Greene claims Democrats want Trump dead in letter on motion to vacate Speaker Johnson. That's pretty extreme. In the lengthy message, I will hold on. She wrote like, of course, we're not going to go over all of this. I doubt she wrote this. I mean, I don't know. If she fucking wrote it. If convicted, this would be a death sentence for President Trump. Who cares? I mean, if convicted, he may, hypothetically speaking, if convicted, he could go to prison or house arrest or something. But regardless of what happens, if Trump gets convicted, it's because of him. So who gives a fuck? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like responsibility, bootstraps, all that. I mean, that's cliche to say, but still, it's like, who gives a fuck? So what? Yeah, yeah, I'm glad you pointed. Yeah, because ownership of Earth, it just, again, especially when it's just resources like oil and shit like that. It's like, why do these people have the right to have access to this versus other people? Like just having a monopoly on it and shit like that. But one day at a time. But yeah, who gives a fuck? If convicted, would be a death sentence. Who cares? So what? We supposed to protect him? A death sentence. A death sentence for President Trump is precisely what the Democrats want. They want him dead, and our power of appropriations could have stopped it, but Speaker Johnson didn't even try. I click this. We're not going to read through all of it. I'm just saying, why did she even post it like that? You can't even, I mean, you can read it, but it's just like, okay, no, I'm just glancing over it, but I mean, I still don't really think it was worth it to get Kevin McCarthy. Um, right, exactly, Fritz. So when you commit crimes, and get caught for them, especially when you basically have lived a lifestyle of fraud. I think it's like, who gives a damn? Right, exactly. They're openly complaining that he didn't go far enough in breaking the law. But I still don't really see what benefit they got from getting rid of Kevin McCarthy. I really don't. Okay. Now we got Trump bashing Lindsey Graham, which is hilarious. It's so crazy to watch Donald Trump just endlessly shit on everybody. And they'll just go to bat for him no matter what. Like no matter what he says about him, no matter how many times he throws these people under the bus, they're just like, oh, and especially Lindsey Graham, because he's one of the most pathetic of them all, because it's like, you know, you you were one of the people who warned the entire GOP apparatus that we probably are better off not letting Trump actually become president or actually get the nomination at the time. And he was right, and he knows that he was right, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I really can't imagine being so spineless, just being, you know, to have so much power and be so powerless. You know, these people are senators. These people are these people are powerful. They got real power. You know, they can make shit happen. And they just cower to this goofy ass game show host who at the end of the day really ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah, Trump ain't gonna do nothing. He gonna run his mouth and he might sick his people on you, but he ain't really gonna do nothing. It's so pathetic. I blame myself for Lindsey Graham. Okay, what's he talking about? Donald Trump continued his attack on Senator Lindsey Graham after the longtime ally of the former president publicly disagreed with his abortion policy. See, that's all you got to do. And basically, Lindsey Graham's disagreement, it wasn't like this. Trump came out and he was like, leave it up to the states, which honestly, that's probably the best line that Republicans have at this point when it comes anything to do with the abortion discussion. It's probably best that all of them are just like, just leave it up to the states. Otherwise, you're gonna have to defend it. But Lindsey Graham, I think his criticism was like as if most of the country is against abortion. Like people want to know exactly how long the ban is. They want a national like. So basically, he was like, Trump, you didn't go far enough. It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter how much you bend over backwards for this dude, and they still do it. Okay, what is he talking? On Monday, Trump released a video. Oh, he put a video out. It's not up here, but hold on, let's see. Um, he released a video in which he said abortion laws should be left to the states, not the federal government. Um,
From a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land, in this case, the law of the state.
in response, Graham said Trump's position will age about as well as the Dred Scott decision, which is hilarious. That is hilarious. The fact that, because if you're not familiar with the Dred Scott decision, it basically was like Dred Scott was a slave who he became free. At some point, he became free, and then like his old owner, old master, whatever, wanted him back. He like arbitrarily wanted him back, even though Dred Scott was freed. And then the decision basically was like, well, black people are only 3/5 of a full human being. So therefore, Dred Scott, get your black ass back on that plantation. That's basically what the Dred Scott decision was. So to say that that is going to age the same way is really fucking dumb. Like these people, the silent majority. No, y'all are the loud minority. You're not the silent majority. You're the very loud minority. Predictably, Trump fired back.
Senator Lindsey Graham is doing a great disservice to the Republican Party and to our country.
He wrote in a lengthy post on Truth Social. I guess they just got out the best parts of it. Hours later, the former president came back for more by claiming credit for Graham's reelection in 2020 while also blaming himself for same. Ah, damn. He like, yeah, that's just kind of what it's like. Be careful what you ask for. It's like, man, I'm responsible for you winning re-election in 2020, but I'm sorry that I did it. He's the ultimate troll. He really is the ultimate troll. Um, where we at? Okay, he said,
I blame myself for Lindsey Graham. Because the only reason he won in the great state of South Carolina is because I endorsed him.
said Trump, who followed that that missive with another post stating that Graham should study the 10th Amendment and state rights. Because, we know that Donald Trump has studied that so deeply. You would think that maybe he would have looked into that a little bit considering he was the president, but funny that he probably don't even know what the hell that is. Graham made some waves ahead of the 2022 midterm elections when he introduced legislation that would ban abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Senator, Republicans are very angry at you, Jesse Waters told him at the time. Why'd you do it on that day? Not great timing. Don't you see that? And Graham was like, I'm proudly pro life, and I have no apology for being pro life. And there's no bad time to defend the unborn. This is a and then Waters was like, this is terrible timing, terrible tactics. One of the few times that Jesse Waters got it right. Sometimes you just know. And I guess when Jesse Waters gets it right, you tripping. Oh God. Oh, so we got some terrible, terrible news from abortion from Arizona. Abortion in Arizona is set to be illegal in nearly all circumstances, state high court rules. Oh boy. And again, it's like it's not the silent majority, it's the very loud minority. Despite the fact that Republicans are losing election after election after election because of this very thing. It's like, no, we must double, triple, quadruple down. We have to keep these bitches in the house at all costs. We got to get them back in the kitchen. Get them back in the kitchen, get them back cooking, you know, when times were good, when men didn't have to try. when and you know what's so stupid about it all is it's like conservatives drool and fantasize and romanticize a past that never existed. You know, we all can romanticize the past. That's kind of a human condition. But, they think of back in the 50s and the 40s, and before that, things were just great. Everybody was happy. Like, no, bro, the further back in time you go, the less rights people have, the less we know about medicine, in biology and physiology, the more savage and treacherous we are to one another. I mean, you go and then what are those rates in the 50s and stuff and all them how and first and foremost, if you weren't like somewhere in the upper middle class, you would not be able to afford not working. Women have always worked. Women in the working class and lower classes have always worked. Always. You know, obviously, it's true that over the last several decades, women have become a much greater part of the workforce at large. But again, it's like they act like you go back in time and all of a sudden nobody's going to be like poverty didn't exist in the past. Like it's just dumb. But that's what they want. That's the very thing that they want. It's not like they don't know this. I mean, some of them gotta feel like some of them gotta romanticize it, but a lot of them they know exactly what the fuck they doing, man. They want to go back to a time where people didn't have rights. I mean, because what else is there to romanticize? There's nothing else to romanticize. But let's go over this bullshit ass news from Arizona. Exactly, Fritz. So they lose the elections, but they planned ahead for that. They planned ahead. They knew that they weren't the silent majority, and they were like, "Man, we got to rig the game." But yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, really, it's a tragedy. It's like you motherfuckers have spent the last 50 years trying your damnedest and your hardest to make this happen. Oh, we got Annie in the building. What's going on? I'm doing well today, Annie. I'm in a nice, relaxed, chill mood. It's about 76 degrees here in northern New Jersey. It's sunny. I'm feeling good. I'm here with my friends, kicking it with this awesome, amazing community. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a little sunshine after this stream. Glad to have you here. But yeah, I mean, it's this shit is it's evil. It really is. Okay. Abortion in Arizona is said to be illegal in nearly all circumstances, state high court rules. The Arizona Supreme Court on Tuesday upheld a 160-year-old abortion ban, 160 years, that could shutter abortion clinics in the state, saying the law that existed before Arizona became a state could be enforced going forward. I mean, how arbitrary is it, man? Look, listen, laws are important. Laws are important, and for the most part, people follow them. But at the same time, it- laws are an agreement, man. It's an agreement. I mean, how can you make this make sense other than you just had to find a reason and an excuse of some kind to push your agenda forward? These motherfuckers don't care. The ruling indicated the ban can only be prospectively enforced, and the court stayed enforcement for 14 days. But it's already causing political earthquakes. Quote, there really is no way to sugarcoat it. Today is a dark day for Arizona, said Angela Flores, president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Arizona. The pre-statehood law mandates 2 to 5 years in prison for anyone aiding an abortion. So what does that mean? If you drove them to a clinic or some shit like that, is that what that's supposed to mean? I mean, god damn, this is just and again, we know that it's just authoritarianism. They don't care, but it's like y'all don't want to win. You don't want to win. What more evidence do you need that people don't want this shit? What more evidence do you need? But again, they don't care about that. That doesn't matter to them. Fuck what the people want. That's what they want. Okay, so 2 to 5 years in prison for anyone aiding an abortion, except if the procedure is necessary to save the life of the mother, which I'm sure there's all types of loopholes there as well. A law from the same era requiring at least a year in prison for a woman seeking an abortion was repealed in 2021. Uh, Enforcement would mean the end of legal abortions in Arizona, though some providers said they will continue offering abortions at least for a time, likely through May, which is a few weeks from. That's like a few weeks. That's literally a few weeks. Where are we now? Okay, because of a prior court ruling and the state's top Democrats have taken steps to thwart the enforcement. Reproductive rights activists say it means Arizona women can expect potential health complications. Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs issued an executive order last year giving all power to enforce abortion rights to the state attorney general. The current attorney general, Democrat Chris Mays, has vowed not to enforce any abortion bans, but her decision in Hobbs' order could be challenged by one of the state's county attorneys. The decision was 4-2, with Justices John R. Lopez IV, Clint Bolick, James P. Bean, and Catherine H. King in the majority. Lopez wrote the majority opinion, while Vice, God damn. Again, it's just arbitration. That's all this is, man. People do what they want when they can. Obviously, assholes do worse things when they can, but you know what I'm getting at. The nature of power. While Vice Chief Justice Ann A. Scott Timmer penned a dissent, Chief Justice Robert M. Brutinel joined Timmer. Quote, physicians are now on notice that all abortions except those necessary to save a woman's life are illegal. and that additional criminal and regulatory sanctions may apply to abortions performed after 15 weeks gestation. The ruling reads. The majority ruled that a law passed in 2022 which prohibited abortions after 15 weeks did not repeal the pre-statehood, before it was even a state. The justices said the 2022 law was enacted by the legislature because the prior law was at the time enjoined in court, whatever the fuck that means. Quote, life is a human right, and today's decision allows the state to respect that right and fully protect life again, just as the legislature intended, said Alliance Defending Freedom Senior Counsel Jake Warner, who argued the case before the court in favor of the pre-statehood ban. One immediate effect of the ruling could be more support for a potential ballot measure in the works for this year. Advocates say they've already got more than 500,000 signatures, well above the threshold of 383,923. That is a very specific number. I wonder how they break these things down. 383,923 signatures needed by June. And it says that it puts a star choice before voters. Of course it does. 1864. This is so stupid. The abortion ban, first codified in Arizona law in 1864, has been waiting 160 years to come back into. First appearing in the 1864 Howell Code. Bro, that is so long ago. 1864. And this is just going a little bit more into, again, the fight, man, like the Roe v. Wade, and then the 50-year long fight to just take us back. Like, y'all care this much about this shit. Yeah, they do. They do. They care that much about culture and controlling it. They care that much about controlling people. It means that much to them that for 50 years they haven't let up, and they finally got their way. For almost 50 years, legal abortions were considered a fact of American life until the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization ruling in June of 2022 that removed the Roe protections. I mean, bro, Republicans just fuck shit up, man. That's all they do. They just fuck things up. Uh, uh, and it's like what can really be done other than like what 50 more years of fighting to reverse the shit back. I mean, we can't take our foot up off the gas. We got Dragon Ball Super in the building. What's going on? But I mean, again, the sad thing is it really ain't that much we can do about this other than fight for 50 years or some shit like they did. Now we got to do what they did. And it might take 40, 50 years to get anything significant done outside of blue states are going to continue to protect this. But and there will be red states that will protect abortion access as well, but we're going to keep very right-wing conservative states that don't give a damn. I mean, and again, the saddest thing about it all is there's really nothing quick that can be done about it. There just isn't. Well, there you have it. And it's like a snowball effect. These people can't stop. State after state after state, measure after measure. First we do 16, let's do 12, now let's do 6. It's like you all are only appeasing a very small group of people, and you gotta know it. You gotta know it. But again, they don't give a damn. It's just what they want. New rule mandates 200 US plants to reduce toxic emissions linked to cancer. Environmental Protection Agency finalizes rule to strengthen protections for communities living near industrial sites. More than 200 of the US's chemical plants will be mandated to reduce toxic emissions linked to cancer, linked to cancer too, and better protect communities from hazardous pollution, the Biden administration announced today. A long awaited rule finalized by the Environmental Protection Agency will strengthen protections for communities living near industrial sites. The new update focused on ethylene oxide. Ethylene oxide, well, that sounds absolutely horrible, whatever that shit is. Used to produce antifreeze. Well, horrible but important. We definitely need the antifreeze. We don't got no antifreeze. Everything just gonna be overheated, including us. But don't drink it, god damn it. Don't drink the antifreeze. Okay, where are we? Okay, ethylene oxide used to produce antifreeze, pesticides, and sterilizing agents, as well as chloroprene, which is used to make synthetic rubber for shoes and wetsuits. Quote, President Biden believes every community in this country deserves to breathe clean air, said the EPA Administrator Michael Reagan, highlighting communities such as St. John the Baptist Parish in Louisiana. Quote, we promise to listen to folks that are suffering from pollution and act to protect them. Today, we deliver on that promise with strong final standards to slash pollution, reduce cancer risk, and ensure cleaner air for nearby communities. Mm-mm. The last time the government updated the pollution limits from chemical plants was 2006, a while ago now. The strengthened rule would lower toxic pollutants by 6,200 tons a year and slash ethylene oxide and chloroprene emissions by 80%. The new update under the Clean Air Act would also require fence line monitoring of six toxic air pollutants: ethylene oxide, chloroprene, vinyl chloride, benzene, 1,1,3-butadiene, and ethylene dichloride. Whole bunch of chemistry shit going on now. We all up in the chemistry bag. All right, what we got? This quote, this shows the administration's commitment to the issues of environmental justice. This rule will reduce a lot of hazardous air pollutants. Like what's crazy about shit like this is it's like, Democrats will push measures like this forward, and they'll, like generally speaking, Democrats will protect the environment, and then like Republicans on the other side will be like the total opposite. Even though the Environmental Protection Agency was established under the Nixon administration, who, of course, is a Republican. Even though that was the case, look at how far they've fallen. Look at how far to the right they have ran. And it's like they'll be like, who needs the Environmental Protection Agency? Fuck all that. Who cares? Be like, the environment is gay. That's why they don't care about the environment. They think it's gay, so they just don't want anything to do with it. Quote. Okay, we just read that. The final rule requires manufacturers to improve efficiency of flares used to control pollution from emission sources, as well as better monitoring for leaks in tanks that store the chemicals. Ethylene oxide emissions are more commonly found in the US than chloroprene, which dozens of facilities located across the country emitting the pollutant. With dozens, rather, I'm sorry. We cannot have a healthy society without a healthy environment. Indeed, we cannot. All right. Well, that is decent. That is, yeah, and that is definitely one thing that the Biden administration, that I believe you can give the Biden administration some credit for. Um, Stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? Biden's got to do something big that everybody notices. He's got to find a way to do something big. I don't know what it's going to be. He's been talking about student debt relief, but I'm not going to talk about that until it actually happens. But he's got to do something that's going to catch everybody's attention. Um, this is good management. This is definitely good management, and that's honestly that's kind of like the what the Democratic Party has over the Republicans ultimately. Minus the fact that the Democratic Party isn't like fully psychotic the same way that the Republican Party is, but Democrats generally do a good job managing things. Like just generally managing what's going on. Now, obviously, we need reform. We need a lot of reform in education and healthcare. We need reform in all types of stuff. But generally speaking, Democrats do a good job managing shit. And then when Republicans get in office, they're like, ah, who needs anything? Who needs oversight with anything? Ah, fuck it. Just dismantle it all. Okay, what we got now? Georgia finds success in basic income program for black women. And this too is another good example of why it's important to be involved in state politics. And also it's important to pay attention to state politics because even if you're not super involved in the process, when all you look at is the federal level of government, you don't really see much happening. So it's easy to feel like the government doesn't do anything and never gets anything done, but that really isn't true. It's the federal government where you can say that, but a lot of the time states and towns and cities they end up being good proving grounds, good stomping grounds to be like, hey, look, this policy works, we should try to implement it on a bigger level. All right, let's see. Georgia's installment of the Universal Basic Income Program has found success among its Black women participants. Its favorable outcome could lead to an expansion of similar programs nationwide. The In Your Hands initiative started through the Georgia Resilience and Opportunity Fund, the GROW Fund. The nonprofit selected 654 women in a lottery system to receive an average of $850 a month to help with everyday expenses, as reported by Daily Kos. The women will collect the monthly allotments for 2 years, with the Grow Fund partnering with another nonprofit to give directly in New York for the operation. Most of the women with In Your Hands have children, all earning less than 200% of the federal poverty level. The additional money was significantly used toward their children's needs, such as childcare and groceries. However, the participants were also 60% more likely to enroll in higher education programs. Um, what's the however? I don't know why they said however. The realities of the program further dismantle the welfare queen trope historically associated with Black women who use public assistance. Even though most people on public assistance are white because that's the majority of the country. Data collected from the participants showed that many spend the additional funds to lessen the stress of living expenses in Georgia. The findings detailed that 45% allocated the money toward bills, while nearly a third were able to pay off debt. Almost 30% used the extra cash to create a rainy day fund for any unexpected emergency. And now we got okay, we just finished there. The results hope to prove the value of implementing guaranteed UBIs for Americans. Currently, private sources fund the Georgia based In Your Hands and other initiatives in cities like Washington, D.C. Yeah, I remember that. And I think in Washington State, there's some type of a UBI program going on. But that was a few years ago now that I read that. Um, Okay, implementing guaranteed EBIs for Americans. Currently, private sources fund. We just read that. However, their findings seek to encourage lawmakers in enacting federally supported programs across the country. Quote: the vast majority of people receiving guaranteed income don't leave their jobs, and they use the money either to pursue their goals, to supply staples on the table. I mean, look, man. Are there people who want to live off of government assistance? I guess, but I can't imagine that number of people is really high because you can't do shit when you on that. Now, it can get tricky though, because as we talked about with Annie actually a few weeks ago, the limits on how much money you make can impact how much assistance with healthcare you might get from insurance companies and stuff like that, or just other types of general benefits. But the bottom line is that, I mean, most people honor their dignity. Most people have some dignity. Most people have some self-respect, at least a healthy enough amount, than those who don't. Most people work. Most people want to work. Just sitting around doing nothing is not good for the human entity. That's not really what we're not made for that shit. we're made for a lot of things. We're made for community. We're made for relationships of all kinds. Friendship, family, romantic, spiritual relationships, what all types of relationships. But we're also made to work. I mean, that's just some of what we do. Like, we human beings need to devote themselves to something, or else what are we doing? We're too intelligent to not do anything with our lives. We're made to question things. Why this? Why that? What's the point? Why am I here? Why is anything here at all? So all that being said, most people don't want to live off fucking government assistance alone because you can't do shit. It's a stupid trope. Okay. Trump posts video of himself staring at the sun during eclipse as Fox News host says he was fine. Exactly, Aaron. It's like, unless you're somebody who like needs a specific benefit, don't nobody want to be that poor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can probably just go ahead and you can just go ahead and get like work general jobs for 40, 50, 60 hours a week and do better than that if you're able to. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, but yeah, no, I'm glad we had that conversation a few weeks ago because there's so many issues with it. But yes, exactly, Libby. We have to have purpose. Typically, a lot of the time when we break down, it's because we're like, oh, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Oh, and we all go through that shit. Some of us more than others. All right. So apparently, when he was in office, I think he stared at an eclipse too. He was absorbing the light and the power from Amun Ra, who is the sun god in the Egyptian, old ancient Egyptian religion.
Best idea or the worst idea
Set
that we've
aside
had?
all journalistic credibility.
Yes,
we're
let's.
having fun today.
This is basically what's going to happen if I can reenact. The moon will be going in front of the sun for a Sanchez in this point, and that's a partial. I think we've got a full eclipse there.
Once the moon passes the sun, everything goes back to normal. It always does, and it always will. Ask Donald Trump. The last time we experienced an eclipse, the president stared right into it, and then it was over. And he was fine, and so were we. Well, some things have changed.
He gets paid like, I don't remember how many millions of dollars a year. It was like 8 million a year, maybe a little more, to do shit like this. Like, oh my God, like, what? Man, that would be so nice. I wouldn't want to be Jesse Waters. I wouldn't want to trade places with him because no. But God, it would be nice to make $8 million a year to just be a dumbass on national television.
Folks, enjoy the eclipse, but play it safe. Don't be silly.
This year, Biden doesn't want you to see what's coming and wants you to forget what happens next.
Apparently so, yes, old Dion. He is advocating that because Donald Trump stared into the sun for like literally less than a second, because I'm sure it was like, we all should do the same. What kind of ass kissing, ball licking cryon is this? Or Chiron, or however you say that shit. Trump capitalizes on eclipse mania. How? I see now. I see now. Oh my! And Donald Trump will routinely have problems with Fox News Network, and they're literally eclipsing the sun with his head. God, these people are pathetic, man. But man, it would be nice to get $8 million a year to do shit like this. God, that would be great. again, it's like what he was already president, and I will never hold on. Hold on.
The Trump eclipse, a bad omen for Democrats. A mythical dragon devouring their power, so they bang the dictator on day one drum and raise hell. And if that doesn't work, only human sacrifice will save them. But good luck finding virgins in D.C.
Best idea.
What? Did he really just say that at the end of the segment? He said something about sacrificing, but good luck finding virgins in DC. He said that on national television. Mara, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. This dude said this on national television. That was that was pretty gross, actually. Like, not great, just crude. It was just crude. Like, dude, that's something a fucking 21-year-old would say.
The Trump eclipse, a bad omen for Democrats. A mythical dragon devouring their power, so they bang the dictator on day one drum and raise hell. And if that doesn't work, only human sacrifice will save them. But good luck finding virgins in D.C.
Oh, yeah, he's just God, just and I'm a man, and it's just like, gee, he just seems like he's just one of those guys that enjoys, he likes getting under people's skin like that. But God, that was just $8 million a year. Hold on, what is this? Oh, now this shit is hilarious. But we gonna save this for a second. I haven't watched it, but we gonna save it. I'm just catching up with y'all. I didn't even see him lick his lips when he said that. He licked his lips. Hold up. Hold up. I'm gonna pull it up. Let's see him licking his lips. See what you talking about.
Best idea or the worst idea that we've had?
So they bang the dictator on day one drum and raise hell. And if that doesn't work, only human sacrifice will save them. But good luck finding virgins in D.C.
Yeah, he did that little he did that little giggity. He did a little giggity lip. Yep. Keen eye you have there. Definitely a keen eye. He's Okay, now Jennifer and James Crumley, parents of Michigan school shooter, sentenced to 10 to 15 years for manslaughter.
With regard to Jennifer Crumley.
Okay, this is it was 9 minutes. We're not gonna watch all. We can just read it. Jennifer and James Crumley, the parents of Oxford High School mass shooter Ethan Crumley, were sentenced to 10 to 15 years Tuesday after each was found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in separate trials earlier this year. Quote, I can and will offer my deepest and most sincere condolences for your unfathomable losses, Judge Cheryl Matthews said during sentencing. Oh, just reading the text. Matthews said each action or inaction created a ripple effect and said she believes the sentences are, quote, in the best interests of justice and are reasonable and proportionate. Quote, parents are not expected to be psychic, but these convictions are not about poor parenting. These convictions confirm repeated acts or lack of acts that could have halted an oncoming runaway train. about repeatedly ignoring things that would make a reasonable person feel the hair on their back of their neck. Guidelines in this manner do not capture the catastrophic impacts of the acts or in the action. And in these matters, the guidelines do not take into account the complete lack of insight both defendants have for their behavior to this very day. Also, they still don't give a fuck. The parents have already served 858 days in jail while awaiting trial, which will be deducted from their sentence. They have also been instructed to have no contact with the families of the victims. Giving a statement in court Tuesday, Jennifer Crumbly sought to walk back her testimony during trial when she said she would not have done anything differently. James Crumbly, who wiped away tears at several points during his statement, asked to be sentenced in a fair and just way. Quote, "You know that what my son did, I was not aware of," he said. The trials were a rare case of parents facing criminal charges and possible jail time over their role in a shooting carried out by their child. They could have faced up to 15 years in prison for each count, but prosecutors asked for 10 to 15 years total for each parent, according to a sentencing memo filed by prosecutors last week. Quote, "No sentence this court can administer will give the damage caused by the Oxford High School shooting on November 30th, 2021. Prosecutors wrote in requesting the sentence for Jennifer Crumbly as the jury found defendant's gross negligence was a cause of this damage. She knew of the danger to another. It was reasonably foreseeable her son would shoot someone, but she failed to exercise even the smallest measure of ordinary care." Michigan sentencing guidelines call for maximum punishment of about 7 years in jail, a sentence prosecutors said was not strong enough. Considering the guidelines, what those guidelines do and do not account for, and the objectives of sentencing, the severity of the circumstances in this case, and defendant's total lack of remorse warrant a sentence that exceeds the applicable guidelines range. I agree. Quote, "Defendant's shameless lack of remorse in asking for time served as an appropriate sentence is a slap in the face to the severity of tragedy caused by his gross negligence to the victims and their families and to the applicable law that is premised on the concept of proportionate sentencing." Yeah, that is I mean, what that's pretty extreme. I guess narcissism you could call it, lack of awareness, whatever you want to say. Um to be in the position you're in and publicly say, "Just give me time served," like, at least come off like you care more than that. At least come off like it matters to you more. Some people really don't know how to play it. I mean, obviously these people don't give a fuck, and if they did, they wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. James Crumbly also apologized to the victims during his statement in court Tuesday. He says, quote, "I really want the families of Madison Baldwin, Hannah St. Juliana, Tate Meir, and Justin Schilling to know how truly sorry I am and how devastated I was when I heard about what happened to them. I have cried for you and the loss of your children more times than I can count." The parents ignored several warning signs in the days leading up to the shooting and had just bought their son the weapon he used in the shooting, according to the prosecutors. I'm going to buy my son a God. Prosecutors argue that James Crumbly failed to use a cable lock, trigger lock, or store the gun in a locked safe. I mean, yeah, you're just caught dead to rights. Any of which could have prevented the shooting. Yeah, that's a pretty strong prosecution that all of this could have been prevented by obviously more measures than this, but doing something for 10 seconds could have prevented this loss of life. That's a pretty strong prosecution because it's true. It says Oxford High School officials had called the parents to the school the morning of the shooting after disturbing drawings were found on their son's math test, and he had made statements to a counselor suggesting he was considering suicide. I'm just shaking my head because of how, I mean, again, just this type of shit happens so often that you really can't keep up with it. Like you can't keep up with the shit, man. And the and the more you look at the evidence, the more it's like, I mean, it's not that strong of a defense, man. People lost their, at the end of the day, like there's a lot of reform we need in the prison system. There's a lot of reform we need in just all types of shit. But violent crime is hard to forgive. You know what I mean? Especially when it's preventable, because it's easy for people to say, you know, we shouldn't have. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, most abolitionists aren't so extreme that they don't want violent prisoners in prison. But that, I mean, it's easy for you to want leniency when it's not your family or friends who was killed or hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like people do it. People, some, luckily not all of us are like this, but there are people out here who, they're just gonna hurt people. And unfortunately, when we see the warning signs, oftentimes we don't pay attention to them. So tragically, this guy went up in this school and took life, and it didn't need to happen. But I don't know, man. It's just really a shame that this type of stuff happens so frequently to the point where you can't even keep up with the shit. Okay, now what we got here? Exactly. Like when victims are kids, it's like, I mean, that's just hard to forgive. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, I mean, come on, man. But I'm definitely glad that they getting some prison time for sure. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, from what I've gathered, most people are pretty on board with prison is for violent offenders. For the most part, that's pretty much who should be in prison. It's people who are, who can't stop hurting others. And I think that there's still room to work with those people in terms of rehabilitation, but you know, um, we have too many people in prison for nonviolent crimes. All right. New York Jets co-owner. This is hilarious. New York Jets co-owner tells Fox News, people don't know Trump is extremely compassionate. This is hilarious. Like we haven't been watching Trump since before I've been alive. Trump done been in the public spotlight since before I didn't came around. And you know what I'm saying? He's extremely compassionate. That's why he rips people off all the time. That's why he's always ripping people off.
Let's bring in owner of the Jets, Woody Johnson. All right, Woody, you were at the big $50 million Palm Beach fundraiser for Donald Trump. What was it like?
Well, it was a Trump's eclipse, I guess, by your monologue. Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable.
And too importantly, if we just have general societal reform in a variety of areas, then that can absolutely help to lessen the amount of violent offenders that we have. Because a lot of the time, people who, you know, sometimes people make mistakes, but oftentimes people who are just like just like psychopaths, they a lot of the time that they're created through poverty and just horrible circumstances. And obviously we can't control everything, but if we can help to lessen poverty and struggle in a variety of ways, then we will lessen violent crimes too.
Unbelievable. I've been going to these things for, since Reagan. I've never seen anything like it. Everybody's back. $50 million, as you said, twice what Biden and Clinton and Obama raised together.
Yes, exactly, Annie. He's compassionate to his donors. He's compassionate to me, is basically what Woody Johnson is saying right now.
Very enthusiastic people. There's about 100 people at that dinner, a little over. very appreciative of what Trump and his family, President Trump and his family, are giving up to do this, to save America and make America great again. So the good news is you raised $50 million just to start. All these people are fired up. And second, the small and medium-sized donor also came in with a huge $50 million.
Woody Johnson sounds like he pays zero attention to politics because he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't need to really, other than like, where's my money? Other than where's my money? But I mean, you can just hear it that this dude does not pay attention to anything.
Another 50. So that's a couple million a day. Pretty good.
It's pretty good and blows away the Biden record. Not even close. We always hear about what Joe Biden tells donors at these events. He goes off script. Does former President Donald Trump tell donors things different than what he tells the public? What did he say to you at this fundraiser?
I think it was one of the best speeches. Each one gets better and better, but he really was very relaxed with this group. And
each one of his public speeches get better and better. Like when he'll just ramble and say absolutely nothing for 20 minutes, and then he'll say like a keyword, and everyone, claps and screams.
He kind of described.
Talk about how he'd rather get shot, electrocuted to death than slowly eaten by sharks. And then this, that, blah, blah, blah. The immigrants are coming, and everybody cheers.
What he wants to do in the dire straits that the country's in with inflation and, no rule of law, an open border, what's going on in the Mideast and Europe, and all this tremendous inflation, gas prices that are unattainable for a lot of people. And he has a solution. He's done it before. And this time, I think he'll be even better, a lot better, because he really knows what he's doing now.
No, you don't think that. You don't care. I mean, again, I will never, ever understand how people can somehow look past the fact that this country was shut down for an entire goddamn year while Donald Trump was in office. Like, it doesn't really get much worse than that. I mean, I guess, things could always get worse, but it's like, that's pretty damn bad. That's pretty bad. And you'd think that of all the things, I don't know, man. I mean, these people are just lost, but he does not believe this. He doesn't give a shit.
So he'll be able to get,
he's done it before. He'll do it again. He did such an amazing job the first go round that he lost to Joe Biden. That's how amazing he did that he lost. Oh, wait, no, he didn't lose.
Inflation down, gas prices down by drill, baby drill. He'll close the border. He'll make good deals with China and North Korea and some of our adversaries in Iran and Israel and so on. And I think the world will be a safer and better place. There'll be less crime. He's extremely compassionate. People don't know that. He's
just saying things. Let's be like, I think that, when we elect a new mayor, the days will go from 24 hours to 36 hours because fuck the laws of physics.
Extremely funny. I think people are starting to appreciate his sense of humor. Mm-hmm. And he just impressed all of us once again. And I think, the overwhelming thought was, this is just the beginning for us. Everybody in that room was ready to step up.
Wow, he just told on himself so beautifully. This is everyone in that room felt like this is the beginning for us.
Hard. But it was really an appreciation.
Good. It's good. It's good to hear that the party is coming together and coalescing after a lot of the division we've seen over the last couple of years now.
Oh, it's so boring. It's so boring. God. Hold on, let me see if we should even. No, we don't need to go with this. It's not funny enough. I had something from Chip Chick, but it's not. It's not funny enough. No, that really was incoherent. It was like he was just like, dude, what? Like, when Donald Trump becomes president again, everyone will wake up with rainbows above their beds and candy. Rainbows and candy and sunshine. And longer days. Longer, warmer days. and candy. That's gonna be my theme song. I'm gonna be like riding in, galloping in on something. You know what I'm saying? Now, y'all have a wonderful afternoon. It's pretty nice. From what I can tell, it's pretty nice around the country. Um, I heard, Mike Boy, you mentioned something about it being gross in LA, so I'm assuming it's rather warm out there. You are in the desert after all. Here, man, it's nice out here. I'm about to I'm gonna lay in my bed for 10 minutes, decompress a little bit, take a hit from this bong, and then I'm gonna go out there and relax in the sun for a few. Then I got a couple of things to do, but I think I want to do I want to play some Zelda today. I think that's what I want to do. But anyway, thank y'all for joining me. Yes, Banjo Jackson. That's what I need. I need me a banjo. You know what I'm saying? But y'all have a good afternoon. I appreciate everything. Uh, yes, Davina, you have a great day as well. Y'all have a fantastic afternoon. And I will be back streaming tomorrow. And also, starting next week, I mentioned that we're going to be doing, you know, more on mental health. We're going to be having discussions on it, bringing like psychiatrists, psychologists, different types of people on to discuss different types of mental health conditions, healthy ways to cope with things, stuff like that. We're going to start that up next week. And I'm really looking forward to that, because I think that that's not only going to be useful, but it's going to go very far because people need it. I'm really looking forward to that. Y'all have a fantastic afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow.